is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 77. It's our 2022 Emmy Rigoni episode. My name is Zach Cram, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, a.k.a. Leigh James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew Easy, a.k.a. Eastradamus, a.k.a. Pap E. O'Daniel, a.k.a. The Fashionista, a.k.a. Chili Willie, a.k.a. Joe E. Chestnut, a.k.a. Eon Stonkel. E, tough times. It is crazy how much your mood, the feeling, the vibes around this team can shift in about an 8-day span. We were hot coming into the League's Cup break, and now we get a break for real. Austin FC bowing out of the League's Cup in the group stage last night on Saturday. So we'll get into all that. We've got an FC2 match tonight, so we'll talk about that later once that happens. Kickoff at 8 out there at the pitch, and we'll make some League's Cup bets, of course, the nonsense at the end. But all that to ask you this: how you feeling, my friend?
Not well. Incredibly disappointed in the performance here. To me, this one hurts worse than Mazatlan.
Really?
We had our guys.
Okay.
Mazatlan outplayed us. We were rotated. They were the better team for the majority of that game, and then last night we have our guys, and we were the better team for the majority of that game, and we couldn't get it done. And it's just like, man, when we fall asleep after we score this first goal, it's like for so long we keep asking to get this first goal, but it doesn't really help when you give it right back 10 minutes later and you fall asleep at the wheel after scoring. So just incredibly disappointed, but we move on. We get this long break now. Hopefully we can rest up. Hopefully we can get our chemistry back, can get some mojo back. I know the guys are disappointed. I feel like anyone who was out on the pitch last night is incredibly disappointed from the performance that we put out there, and just a really tough night, man, and just another poor showing in a cup. And it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'll disagree with you. I was way more upset with the Mazatlan loss, even with our guys out, even with that rotation. Because Juarez is again, we're not great last year, but we talked about some of the additions they made. We saw some of the additions they made last night. And also just, again, it's a super small sample size, but the teams that Juarez has beat and competed with in their league so far through the first 3 games of the Apertura, like some of the folks that we follow on Twitter that I think know Liga MX pretty damn well, when America put it on St. Louis the other night, like the kind of vibe that I got was like, yeah, this is our best right now from Liga MX. Juarez beat them on the road like 3 weeks ago. Draw with Tigres, beat Toluca 4-2. And then credit to Mazatlan. Mazatlan beat Juarez in penalties. So yeah, man, I disagree there. I felt worse after Mazatlan. Don't feel good after what happened last night. But to me, Juarez, I didn't walk away from the end of that game. At halftime, I didn't think Juarez was very good because they didn't look very good in the first half. Austin FC dominated the first 45 minutes, and it was a tale of two halves, as I think maybe direct quote from the gaffer there. So I apologize. But he wasn't wrong when he said that. Talking about last night's match. So I guess let's go ahead and get into it. Before we talk about the lineup, it was interesting to see that whoever is running League's Cup in the schedule, somebody informed them that it's fucking hot in Austin, Texas. 90 minutes before the match, they decide to push it back a half hour, which I don't. We talked about how the initial Mazatlan match was scheduled for 9. They moved it up to 7:30. But then the Mazatlan Juarez match on Tuesday, that was at 8:30. And then so Austin kicks off at 8 last night. So I don't know. I just kind of rolled my eyes I know we were hanging out. We were getting ready to go down to Q2, and we were on time, and we got that extra half hour, and we ended up leaving later than we wanted to. So, yeah, it's just kind of silly, head scratching.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know the answer for why they've been moving these games around, shifting them around. We talked a little bit about it. Maybe it had something to do with TV stuff, but it's like, it's all on Apple TV. Maybe it's more about like making sure that enough of the Mexican fans can tune in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it wasn't ridiculously hot when we showed up there, and we showed up, we showed up really good timing. We got in there right around.
Perfect
right around the start. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. Let's just get into this thing. And
yeah. Well, I mean, certainly not complaining about them pushing the game back. That's what should have been done all along. Lineup comes out. We've got our guys back, as you kind of alluded to. You got Seb on there wearing the armband. You've got Danny back there paired with Owen, Rodney, and Finlay on the wings. And of course, no Jossie, no Maxi. We had heard on Friday from the press conference that both of those guys are going to be out. It sounded like for a couple of weeks, even for Maxi. And maybe we can talk about those. We'll talk injuries later. But so you had Seba kind of playing this false nine type of role there. Was not the true striker, I think, role that you would see from, he's obviously much more involved than a Jossie or a Maxi in the buildup, et cetera. But that left Diego still in that very central 10 type of role there. Backline the same, right? Or no, we got Johnny G back in there with Lima and Julio and Kip. And then on the bench, again, the League's Cup benches are so weird because they're so loaded. Like, you have to have 3 keepers active. You can bring 23 people on your game day roster, I believe. So it looked like we had 11 guys on the bench. You have the 2 backup keepers there in Bersano and Las. And then we see Matt Hedges available on the bench. We also heard that from Josh on the Friday press conference that he would be available. Johan Valencia, Alex Ring back on the bench. Brandon Craig, Hector Jimenez, CJ Fodre was there. Will Bruin, Adam Lundqvist, and Sophie Jafal. No Valentin Noel, who did play against Mazatlan. I imagine he was left off because of the additions we brought back there in the midfield.
Yes, with Alex back, didn't really make sense for him to get in there.
Any takeaways from you pre-match on the lineup? Obviously, we're feeling good that 10 and 6 are back in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can really ask for. We wanted those 2 guys back really badly. It was good to see Hedges on the bench and get some time in. Obviously, he's been the fastest player we've acquired and slotted into some playing time in our short history here. Good to see Alex on the bench as well. Was happy to see him get in the game as well. But I was a little hesitant with this lineup. Seba at that like false 9 spot. I just don't know if you maximize everything that he can do by putting him there. And then when you follow that up with the player behind him playing the 10, not playing well, it compounds things. So I can't remember what we said we were looking for in regard to lineup stuff before when we previewed this game. But I don't think either of us had Seba at the 9. I liked it at first, I guess, when I saw it, because it was just like, all right, Seba's back, Danny's back. We can move forward with our guys here. But as the game kind of progressed, I really was not a fan of Seba in that 9 spot, particularly when it just came down to, we had opportunities all across the board, all over the field, and getting him the rock in those advantageous positions, dangerous positions where he can distribute, get other guys involved. I don't know if it changes the game. I don't know how much you can make up for, the quality of the goals that they had, and how fortunate they were to get that first one on the board. But it's not our best lineup. That's really all I can say about it.
I mean, I think it's the strongest lineup we could roll out there with the guys that have been here and been relatively healthy, right? Alex Ring had been gone for a little bit longer than Danny or Seba. And
it's like, what's the alternative? Are you going to put CJ up there? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're really just hamstrung by no G and no Maxi.
Yeah. You can't start Will Bruin. You can't.
No, you can't. No, we know that. And when we said that last episode, you can't start him. You get 30 minutes
he's
out
told
of him.
us. Yeah, he's told us he's got
he's honest
20,
about
30
it, and
minutes.
that's fine.
Yeah. All right, well, let's just get into it here. Like we kind of talked about 5-10 minutes ago, Austin FC controlled this first half, in particular, the first 30 minutes. Here in the fourth minute, you've got Stuvino right out the gate, messing around at the back, kind of, zoops the guy pressing him right there in the 6. And actually, like, this starts a really nice buildup here. Julio gets on it after a couple passes around the back after, Stuver makes some magic there. And I think that was the high point for Brad's night there in the fourth minute. Julio plays a really nice ball forward to Finlay, kind of near the midfield line there on the right. And he finds Owen, who's cutting up the middle. Owen plays Diego on the break, and he's taken out fucking hard. And so I want to talk about that in a second. But then Diego has Rodney streaking down the left, and it was a poor pass. Not enough pace on it. A little bit behind him as well. And so the defense is able to recover, block the shot out for a corner. That ensuing corner gets cleared. But back to the guy who took out Owen Wolff. I knew he got taken out hard watching it live, but my eyes continued to follow the play. And from the north end angle, you could not see this guy. I mean, we knew he came in late. And it's not a straight leg studs up challenge, but I think that could have, and looking through my Verde colored lenses here, I think it should have been a red card because it just is a dangerous play.
It was a red card. He was beyond late. The ball is gone.
Yeah.
So there's no play on the ball because he just completely clears Owen out. His spikes are up and his leg is high. I think if it wasn't in the fourth minute, fifth minute of this game, I think it's a red. And I mean, I felt like it was a straight red. It was so late. It was so late.
Adrian Healy, after he saw the replay, because he was on the call once again with Kobe Jones, he kind of pointed that out. And again, I think his rhetoric kind of matched how I felt about it watching on the replay. Is like, you can look at that for a red card. It's not crazy to give a straight red there.
From the reds that I've seen given in this tournament. Some of the reds that have been given in this tournament, or like second yellows that have been given this tournament, the two calls on Evander were horrible the other night.
Bunbury,
the Nashville guy.
Teo Bunbury.
Awful. Yeah. So I mean, I really don't.
These CONCACAF refs are worse than the PRO refs. I feel
they have a whole different style of reffing these games, and I don't know if it's been more advantageous for the Mexican clubs because they're a little more physical, or at least they've shown to be more physical. But yeah, I thought it was a red, and I thought it was a warrant. It should have been a red.
Yeah, dude, there was, and I'm sometimes I think the officials can tilt the game one way or another with their calls. I don't think that is what happened last night, but the calls were really bad on both sides. Like, there's a time early in the second half where Julio just trucks this Juarez player right through his back. No call. We'll talk about the 1-2 later where Owen gets just launched in the air after the yellow they gave to Kip on a challenge.
I mean, we can't control what the ref did or did not do in that situation. What our players could control was the pass that Diego made to Rodney Redis and how poor it was. And now this is multiple times that this has happened to him, where we've had guys open, we play them into space. Yeah, there was enough room to play that into space in front of him to let him run onto it. Instead, he plays it behind him. I think one of the other, it might have been Garcia who gets the deflection here, but this has happened multiple times now. And Rodney's like, he says it to him. You see on the broadcast, he's like, Diego, and Diego just kind of
well, hey, especially, I'm not making an excuse for that play in particular. Like, it was a bad play. He can do better. You're going to have some mishit passes, right? But to your point, we've seen it just so much more from Diego this year than we're used to. Even going back to 2021, I feel like it's just been a step back in that department in the wide view of 2023.
Absolutely.
So 2 minutes later here, man, I don't know if I was looking down, talking to Fudge or Damon or something. 6th minute here, Brad makes an errant pass in the defensive third, like leaves an open net for the Juarez player that steps in and picks off this pass. And Brad got extremely lucky. We got extremely lucky that Buddy just shot it wide. He had an open net. I don't know why he didn't. I mean, just should have been the opening goal.
Did you see on the rewatch some of the interactions between Johnny and Kip?
That was not one that I noticed. John was frustrated with multiple teammates last night.
Frustrated.
Yeah.
And there's just something off about when Kip's back there and his confidence to like go play that ball to the opposite side of the field or open his hips and play it over to Johnny. And like, it's just, you can tell that I don't know if the guys trust him fully on that backside yet, because we play out of the back, it's part of how we start our offense, and you have to make those decisive passes to push us forward. And when you don't, and then the opposite side, back is pushing up the field and the timing is off, now that person's kind of stuck in no man's land. And it happened a few times where we had to wait to get Nicky to track back because the timing is just off. So yeah, a sloppy play by Stuv, some poor communication, poor communication on that back line that just has led to indecisiveness up and down the field that kind of just throws our timing off.
14th minute here. This is where Austin really starts to turn it up. We win a throw on the right side, kind of deeper than the 18-yard box. So, it's Nick Lima time. And launches this one. This was a fantastic throw. It goes over the bigs, right? You got Julio in there. You got Kippy in there. It kind of just falls right to the foot of Driussi. And again, I know we've said this a lot this season when it's occurred. This is a finish that goes in the back of the net in 2022. And Seba just puts it wide. Absolutely, like seeing it in the north end from a better angle than the broadcast camera. But then again, on the rewatch, he's got to finish that.
Do you think he lost it in the air? I feel like he lost the ball in the air, and like a split second, it's like coming down to his foot.
Maybe,
because it skips over
like
Julio, right? Julio's
but it doesn't touch anybody.
Yes, but like I feel like it could have blocked, and it just kind of drops in there. Sure. So I don't know if it just kind of caught him off guard, but yeah, I mean, one that we know he can finish, one that we've seen him finish, and one that just hasn't been finished this year.
Right. Well, especially on a night when you can point to a guy like Aitor Garcia, who again, not a one-to-one comparison, because his first goal off that deflection, which obviously we'll get to, there's nobody around him, much more congested here with Seba. But Garcia finished one that kind of came at you in a weird way, reacted well. 1 minute later, Austin wins a throw in the defensive half. And this is something, too, that I've noticed a couple other teams. I thought Rapids, too, did this really well in their second half comeback against FC2 last weekend. When the ball goes out and it's that dead ball, the movement from your attacking players, I think, is something that Austin, and maybe because they want to keep possession all the time, they're not as aggressive in this fashion, but trying to start the break off the dead ball, that dead ball movement is something I don't think we see a lot from Austin. In this scenario, Seba takes off as soon as that ball goes out. Lima runs over to it and plays him through with the throw, kind of down that right sideline. So once Seba gets into that offensive third, Diego's coming along with him. They play a nice give and go. And this was some 2022 vibes with that little interaction. And then Seba finds Redis, who, to his credit, Redis made a nice adjustment on the defender because he was marked. Redis made a nice little cut, got cut across his face, and Seba puts it right on his foot. And then Rodney fails to put it in. He puts it in the only place where it can't go in the net, and it deflects off the defender out for a corner. That ensuing corner, Seba shot, and the shot goes into 124. But, yeah, I guess if the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away here. And shout out Profe on the spaces last night from We Are Austin TV. He said, Lord Redis, I'm ready for feudalism to be over. I thought that was a good one.
That's a good one. But
yeah, man, Rodney's got to finish that. And look, I'm not saying that Emi Rigoni or CJ Fodre or any of the other wingers that we have on the roster do finish that, but man, I just hope we can get healthy. Like, again, I know Rigoni's not our fucking savior, but I would still rather have him out there than Rodney Redis.
Yeah. That's not saying too much right now, but
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, Rodney's got to do better with that, but that's who he's been his entire tenure here. It was a good read for sure, but again, you got, and we said this a couple of weeks ago, he's finding himself in the right positions. He's putting himself in the right spots to get on the board, and he's just been unable to do it.
I mean, and he works, man. You know, you see him, like you said, in the right spots. But that's just like the talent has not risen to a level where he can be a starter that we have confidence in over long stretches. Like, he just hasn't been able to prove that.
Yep. It's the limitations of this roster on full display.
Yeah. Well, and certainly with the 3 weeks that we have off here, we can get into a little bit more of the roster going forward. Won't do that today, but 3 minutes later here, 18th minute, Austin playing out of the back. Really slick flick from Seba to Owen here. And then Owen makes 2.5 Juarez defenders look pretty silly here. Little in and out at midfield, and he plays Lima. And as Owen was, progressing up the field, making his move and finding Nick Lima, Seba is streaking down the field, and Lima takes 2-3 touches and picks out Seba, who also makes a nice cut across the face of his defender, gets his head to the cross, and it goes off the back post and out for a corner. So I don't think I can critique much there. It was a really good buildup. That was MVP caliber play from Driussi. It just doesn't go in, but it compounds the frustration for not just the people wearing green, but everybody in the stadium cheering for the team wearing green, because this team is just dominating this game right now, and they can't seem to find the back of the net. 2 minutes later, Diego gets fouled near the left corner, and off that free kick, he takes a shot, and it does force a save from Ramon Pascual. So that goes out for a corner. That corner was taken short. Big Fudge is irate because the corner is turned over, and Juarez is off and running. It was decent transition defense here by Austin. Credit to Driussi. He sprinted all the way back, and he ushered it out for a goal kick. But it was I thought that free kick, that was a nice attempt by Diego. The keeper was just ready for it.
Yeah, and he almost got him sleeping. Yeah.
And then 3 minutes later, everything, this all does come to fruition for one goal. Lima finds Owen near midfield, and a really nice one-touch through ball here by Owen. Didn't just catch the attention of the Austin fans, but Tom Bogert immediately tweeting out the replay, giving Lobito some praise there. That pass played Ethan Finlay in behind that back line, and Finlay, as we see him do a lot, very professional finish right at that back post. And that was already the 8th shot for Austin in the first 23 minutes. So up 1-0, feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, an absolute dime from Owen, who, I mean, after taking that really hard foul, really was playing kind of like with his hair on fire. He was playing aggressively, and he was fully in the game. And there's a couple plays where you see him, and I don't know if it was on a play prior to this, but he's got a give and go lane with somebody, and he makes that back cut kind of run, doesn't get the ball. He throws his hands up, and there's just frustration up and down the field with that. But getting to the goal, incredible shot by Ethan. And that's how you finish, man. And it looked like we were about to blow this thing open. The confetti is flying. It was spicy. That was the spiciest it's been in North End our entire time. Yeah. At the stadium. I was watching that St. Louis Club America game, and just how fun it looked with the Mexican League fans in there, and they're doing their chants, and they got their flags, and they're singing and everything. And I remember laughing because it was like, oh yeah, I love to see St. Louis's crowd getting completely drowned out by this team that is thumping them, and then got a taste of my own medicine in the second half here. But it was spicy in there, and shout out to those Juarez fans who showed up, and nothing got out of hand, but with some healthy.
Well, I mean, look, I will shout out all of them except for, it was like a group of like 3 guys down there at the bottom of 123 who are bringing out the P chants and making some other kind of homophobic gestures at some other people in 123. We did not get involved too much in that. But yeah, did you see those guys throw their fucking flag on top of the net, like in the last 5 minutes of the game?
I missed that.
Dude, security didn't. Nobody went and got it down.
Yeah, I remember your disdain with security there.
I was just like, come on, man. Like, I get it that you don't want to get like, if things aren't bubbling over where there's like fights or anything dangerous happening, then I get it. Like, there's like 2 security guys down there, right? They're fucking outnumbered. So I get not really interjecting there, but let's get the fucking flag that they threw onto the field off of the top of the net.
Yeah, let's take care of that.
28th minute here. Off a quick restart, off a foul call here on the left side in the offensive half for Juarez. Aitor Garcia, who is the hero on the night for Juarez, he gets free in the 18 and shoots it just wide. That was kind of the first legitimate chance that Juarez had that they created themselves. That wasn't Brad just hey, try to shoot on this open net. You know? Yeah. And then 7 minutes later, they win a free kick about 10 yards outside the 18 on the left side there. Diego was jostling with the Juarez player. I don't remember who it was. I thought that call could have gone either way. No complaints about, it was a foul on somebody. Juarez gets it. And it's not in a spot where this should happen. This should never happen. They play a ball on the ground here on the set piece. And like, it looks like it's a through ball on the ground, but then it ends up being on frame and nobody touches it. And Stuver reacts way too late. One of like, we've seen a couple blunders out of Stuver in his tenure here. Most of it involves like playing it out of the back, making a mistake in that fashion. This was very un-Stuv right here. Just too late with his reaction time. And like, even on the replay, I think we can see what happened, right? Like they have it looked like, I don't know if that was a forward or a center back, one of the bigger Juarez players there kind of making a darting run towards that ball. And so I think Stuver freezes because he thinks if he gets a touch on this, it's going to my right. And it's just out of the reach of that Juarez player. And it just keeps trickling to Stuver's left. Not making excuses. That was bad. And I think without question, now the worst 2-game stretch of Brad's tenure here as our starting keeper. I have my Bradley faith meter. I still got Brad on the koozie here. The Bradley faith meter has not dipped for me. And I know the guy's hurting, right? Nobody wants to let the team down in a moment like that. But you got to say for what it is, man. Bad night, bad tournament, bad group stage for Stuver.
Yep. His worst 2-game stretch of his tenure here with the club. And man, you run that if that shit happened 100 times, how many times are we giving up a goal there? And it just kind of fucking squeaks in the side and everyone's just dumbfounded.
Yeah. I think even the Juarez players were like, I can't believe it went in.
Yeah. Everyone in the stadium is just like, what just happened? And it just took all the air out of the stadium for what had been just an absolute domination up until that point. And even then it's just like we still kept it on, but man.
Well, even we're sitting at the half, like Juarez at the half had still not done anything to make us think we are not in control of this game. Or at least that was our, we were standing, I think we were with Brian, Mike, Dave, and his buddy who was there. I forget his name. I apologize. But yeah, we were kind of sitting there like, yeah, we're good. Can't believe we should be up, but we'll be all right. Before we did get to the half, there was the Kip yellow card in the 41st minute. There is contact at the top of the jump. Okay. I don't think it's a yellow. I think, especially the way the game was being called, I think it's just a foul.
Yeah. There was hand fighting.
Foul. Let's move on.
Yeah. There was hand fighting that entire match. People getting pulled down, pulled over to places. Just a physical kind of game. And he gets a yellow for that. Yeah. And like what are the fucking equivalents between that first tackle on Owen and that both of those are somehow yellow cards? Yeah. Is crazy.
Yeah. So going into the half, no changes there. And this is where it shifts, man. Like 53rd minute here, Juarez, and again, a lot of their chances were just created off the counter, which is how you typically beat Austin. Yep. So Aitor Garcia gets out on the counter down the left. And he had a nice through ball, some good service here from his teammate down that sideline. But then he outruns Julio and kind of curls around him with the ball. And then Kip's got the jump on him. Kip is in position, and Garcia just streaks past him right to the middle of the box, puts it wide, but it didn't get much better from there. And that was just, again, Julio and Kip. I thought they were extremely solid. They didn't have a ton to do in the first half, but looking real shaky in the second.
Yeah, man. The entire team looked real shaky in the second. We kind of looked like we were just trying to play a little bit more conservatively. And they start hitting us on these counters, and just, it was a sign of things to come. Julio and Kip there just really poor. Yeah. And you keep giving teams chances like that, they're going to put them away eventually, and they do.
Yeah, 57th minute, you have Angel Zapata came on for the goal scorer, the first goal scorer, Seba Saucedo. 2 minutes later, another counter here by Aitor Garcia. There were 3 Garcias in their starting lineup, so the first name's very important here. And this time, he's one-on-one with Kip. And I thought Kip did well. I think the best thing he could do is win the initial ball, but Garcia comes in and he's off to the races. Kip was able to turn him twice, and he forces a shot that Stuver, if it was on frame, I thought Stuver absolutely would have saved. So, again, as bad as the second half was for that back line, I thought Kip did well there.
Yeah, no, I thought he did well there, too. I remember standing up for that, like, oh, shit, here we go. We're getting what's his name again? Son of a gun.
Aitor?
No. When Kip was in a one-on-one position with that DP from –
Cordova.
Cordova? Yeah. I had like flashbacks to that. So like we're standing up, we're looking. Yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh boy, here we go, wide-eyed." I thought he did a good job with it. He held his own there, and to your point, right? Brad should save that. It was a weird night for him if it was on frame, but again, you start to see the cracks.
Yep.
You start to see the openings, and you start to get a little concerned, and you're like, "Where are we at right now mentally?" So
3 minutes later, the dam breaks, 62nd minute. Build up here for Juarez. Finds him on the right side, just inside the 18-yard box. And the cross attempt is deflected by John Gallagher. And kind of similar to last week, like deflection falls right to an opposing player. Aitor Garcia does very well to just volley it out of the air. That was a quality strike by him, but he's just unmarked. And like on the rewatch, look, man, on this one, I'm left shrugging my shoulders. I don't know if this is Finlay, who was following him into the box and then he holds up. I don't know if it's on Lima, who's closer to the goal line. Garcia ends up between those two. And then both our center backs are marking one guy at the near post area of the 6-yard box. So, like, I think my best analysis here is it's just on the defense as a whole. Like you said earlier, the lack of communication. And we start to get tired here and it gets, that level drops. It's got to be better.
It has to be better. And look, man, Julio just doesn't have that voice on the back line that Ruben had last year to keep us tight knit, to find your mark, to get to your man. There's nothing Brad could have done with this shot. Again, a fortunate deflection for them, and they made the most of it. And but still, just so many things to clean up back there. And it's just like I'm not a professional soccer player. This does not seem like galaxy brain level stuff where if there's an open man in the box, you go mark them, you find them. Yeah. You got 2 guys on 1 player. You talk. You get out of that situation. So, man, the cracks were showing and they put this one away, and it honestly just felt hopeless after this one. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was hopeless for me at that point, but like we had not generated a ton in the first 20 minutes of the second half. So certainly on edge then, but all you got to do is get one in the last 25 minutes. We're at home. We can go to pens. And then if you get a second, who knows what happens in the remaining time. We did get subs here, 65th minute. You get Matt Hedges' debut in for Kip Keller, then Alex Ring on for Rodney Redis, which moved Diego out to the left and Owen up to the 10. I saw what were your thoughts on that? Because I thought it was the move in the moment that I would have done. Bring Alex on, and Owen had still been playing well to that point. So put him up there and move Diego out to the left, his more natural position, or at least what's been natural here in Austin for him. And we got Matt Hedges back there. So like I was happy with the subs, as unhappy as I was in the moment for just conceding. What did you think about that move, getting Owen up there? Because of course there's always going to be people critiquing anything where there's a last name Wolff involved. But I don't know if that was like the perfect move. What did you think about that?
I thought it was the right move in the moment and the right move for who we needed to get on the pitch in order to be as talented as we could be. And that includes Matt Hedges now, and that includes Alex Ring. So I thought it was the right move. Diego didn't show anything to maybe be like, oh, well, we can't get him out of that 10 spot.
Right,
you know?
right.
And I mean, shit, if you're going to move somebody, you got to push Owen up there, give him that shot at that 10. And he had been playing really well that entire game. Yeah. And I thought it was the right move in the moment. I do. I don't know what else you could do. I really don't. You don't want to get Johan in there at that point because he's going to be more of a defensive guy who's not adding too much on the offense.
Right. We need goals.
You want to be exactly. You want to be up when you're bringing Johan in. So getting Alex in, getting him, getting his energy, his tenacity, his toughness out there was fucking great for us. And pushing Owen up to that 10, which we've said is what we've been told is his natural position. Right. I thought it was the right move. Again, just because you make the right move doesn't mean you're going to get the result.
Right. And I don't think we see another Kip Keller start, assuming that we have two of the other three top center backs healthy the rest of the year. And that's how it should be. That's why we make that big move for Matt Hedges.
I think that's the right thing. Like I said, like with the stuff that we can clean up on the back side of this ball, Matt Hedges can help us do that. He's a vet. I'm assuming he has a voice, back there.
He was captain for FC Dallas.
Yeah. You're a center back. You got to be a guy who talks and is and that's just not who Kip is right now. It's not
at this point of his career.
He's a young man. He's playing with these other dudes who've been seasoned veterans throughout the league. So I think that is also the right move, and I'm excited for that. I really am. As well as Kip has played, this is not a knock on Kip in any sort of situation where it was like we lost this game because of Kippy. No way. But it's Hedges time. It is.
Yeah, for sure. 68th minute here. Austin on the attack. Juarez, a defender, heads a ball. He's in the 18. That ball goes high up in the air, and it's coming down just outside the 18. Owen jumps for it. Another Juarez defender also jumps for it and levels him. Like, sends him back 2 yards on his ass. The fact there's not even a foul call there is just fucking atrocious.
It's ridiculous.
Compared to some of the other calls we saw in the night that went for yellows. This is not even a foul call. And again, both sides last night, man. I mentioned the one on Julio where he took out the Juarez guy to no avail. I don't know, man. And then Finlay has position in the box, and a Juarez defender makes contact. I don't know if there was much in that because we don't get there's no call there, obviously, but we don't get a replay because Juarez takes off on the counter. Aitor Garcia bursts past Nick Lima and then past Julio inside the 18 and then puts the shot past Stuver that I think he should have gotten a mitt on as well. So we get that fucking replay 4 times and not the contact in the box. VAR probably looked at it. Again, I don't think there was much in it, but my frustration from the Owen no call bleeding into the notes here a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just horrible defense, man.
Yeah.
Just bad defense. It's just bad. And again, Stuver could have done better with that one as well. And I think he'd be the first to tell you.
For sure. And he did. He posted this morning.
Right. It's facts. And like you said, your Bradley faith level is unwavering, as is mine. Everyone has an off night. Keepers, particularly when you have a bad mistake, it's much more glaring. Yeah. So it's under the microscope more. And 2 bad games from Brad. But look, we got this break now. Get your mind right, baby. Hang out with Ashley Stuve. Clear the thoughts. We'll come back. Yeah.
So 3-1 there. You get a double sub for Juarez, Osuna, and Urzi in for Denzel Garcia and Perez Bouquet. Some interesting names on this Juarez team.
Saucedo is such a good last name.
I love that name. Sebastian Saucedo. So then Danny gets a yellow card, which again, this feels like a really soft caution given what else has gone on. 5 minutes later, you get Will Bruin in for Diego Fagundes, which creates an odd situation on the left where like you've got Bruin up top, Owen's kind of out on the left, but during this period before the CJ sub, John Gallagher is pushing up left. So it's almost like a formation change there for like 8-10 minutes. It wasn't, but again, we're just trying to kind of fill that void on the left and have Will Bruin's body in there to try to put something home. This also moved Alex Ring to free kicks and corners.
Which is a big drop off.
Yeah, I agree. From Fagundes, yeah.
Yes, from Diego. And that's not us knocking Alex on a slight. Diego, it's a drop off.
Diego's one of the best in the league at that, right? Not a ton goes on the rest of this match, man. Juarez did a good job being compact and in keeping Austin kind of away from dangerous chances. 83rd minute, you get another double sub. Aitor Garcia does come out here for Juarez. Then in the 86th, you get the debut of CJ Fodre for Owen Wolff. So it kind of fixes that left side. You get CJ in there on the left. Congrats to CJ on finally making his first team debut. We're going to see a lot more of him in the coming years, and I can't wait. 90th minute here, you get Salas taking out Seba, gets a yellow card, deserved there. 2nd minute stoppage time, Lima serves in a ball towards the back side of the 6, that left side, and CJ rises up and gets his head to it, and it goes a few feet wide right. But that was good to see him. I mean, showcasing that athleticism, being dangerous early in his short shift there. And here's where I gotta come clean. I gotta come correct, man. 2 games in a row, I'm getting up to go pee before the final whistle. Getting ready. I'm getting out of here as soon as this game is over. So I did miss this sequence while I was in the restroom. 4th minute of stoppage time here. Finlay runs the ball down on the end line that honestly, if a goal had come here, I think VAR may have said this ball was out, but there was no whistle. So he props it up on that end line and it goes, I don't know, 50, 60 feet in the air, it felt like, all the way down to the left side of the 6. And there's kind of a scrum for positioning to come down or to get under this ball. And in that scrum, Will Bruin is hit in the face. Couldn't really see by whom, but the ball falls. Driussi takes a shot that's spilled by the keeper. And Bruin, as he's gotten smacked in the face, is standing there not looking. If he doesn't get hit in the face and is able to be aware there, he probably taps it in. And so that he doesn't see it. And then he goes down, and Nick Lima ends up on the rebound, and he puts a shot in that's going in, and it hits Will Bruin, who had just gone down. Which is extremely frustrating end to the match for those guys, even more than it already was. And man, yeah, that was just watching that back. I can't believe I missed that. It was almost laughable at that point. It's like,
it was a comedy of errors.
There. It's just not our fucking night, not our tournament.
No.
So 3-1, Austin bows out. 19 shots to 16. This game, like shot-wise, attempt-wise on net, was extremely exciting from a third-party perspective, I imagine. 6-5 on target in favor of Juarez. 13 of Austin's 16 shots were inside the box, even on corners, 4 apiece. And then Apple's XG model, man, 1.28 for Austin, 1.5 for Juarez. Feels about right. And it's very similar to the Mazatlan XG, where it's just like the visiting teams converted their chances and Austin did not. So I guess any like takeaways into the match here for you, overall feelings?
Yeah, I got several.
Okay.
Going to FOTMob after the game and just kind of looking through the stats and the passes and all these stats that we can look at, and you look at big chances missed. Austin 3, Juarez 0. And that's the difference in the game. They finished when it came down to it. We did not. Obviously, a terrible taste in my mouth from this tournament. Incredibly disappointed. I know that people who listen to the show, I have hedged this tournament with saying the best thing that could happen to this team might be getting this full month off to rest, to get Giassi healthy, to get Maxi healthy, to get Hedges more acclimated, to get our our fun back a little bit.
To get Emi Rigoni,
yeah,
for better or worse, DP player, a guy that we would be better having available.
We need him back. We do. So with all that being said, incredibly disappointed in the showing. We got the luck of the draw here to get Mazatlan at home. This Juarez team as well, who I know we went through, their history and their short tenure with the league, the season this far, up to this point. But I mean, Mazatlan beat them in PKs. And like that first half, we walked away and we're like, man, this team is not that good.
Yeah.
So it felt like we kind of gave one away here, and it's tough, man. It's disappointing. I know everyone's disappointed. I did appreciate the post from Brad and the post from Seba. I appreciated the post-game comments from Ethan Finlay, who, said, yeah, I'm glad I scored. Who cares? I don't, I scored. I don't give a shit.
Said came in a loss.
Yeah.
I could give a shit. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, let's heal up. Let's lick our wounds. Let's get ready for the rest of this MLS season. It's what we got left. It's all we really have to play for. And there's a lot of soccer left to be played, man.
Yeah, and I think to your point about the players post-match, I think they know clearly they have to do better. I think it's fair to say in this one that in the second half, I'm not gonna tell somebody they're wrong if they say Josh Wolff got outcoached in the second half. I don't think it was glaring, but I think that's a fair take to have after this game. I think for me, my biggest takeaway is that, again, that the players have to do better, because the plan of attack, at least in the first half, generated so much. And the team should have been up 2, maybe 3 in that first 25 minutes, certainly 2. Those guys they got to finish.
I agree.
And the first goal, that's on Brad. And the second goal, guys wide open, that is on a myriad of defenders in that area. Nick and Julio on the third goal, and Brad. So I think, again, there's plenty of blame to go around. This felt to me very much like a team loss through and through. And I guess anything else for you? I did want to get to some of Josh's quotes for what they're worth. Some people could give a shit, I guess, like Ethan Finlay. But he said kind of overall, he said it was a tale of two halves. I think we saw exactly what we wanted to in how we started. We were quite good the first 30 minutes. Could have been up a couple goals. Could have been up a man. So he did allude to that potential red card there. He said their first goal sucks the life out of the stadium, sucks the life out of the team. And in the second half, there's moments that are good, but you give up a goal and then a second goal quite quickly. And he said it showed a lack of maturity, and we looked a little naive. And again, and maybe he's not including himself in that, but I thought that last part, I thought he was kind of dragging himself kind of into that blame a little bit. Maybe I'm probably just reading too much into that, but I think that maturity and us looking naive are accurate critiques, especially without being able to watch the film.
Absolutely. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. And he spoke on the Stuver error. He said the first goal, obviously a massive error. The second goal, plenty of guys in the box dealing with a guy that's in the middle of the penalty area. We have guys there. We have to take accountability for it. And then similar to the other night, it's a deflection that falls to them. Third one, a guy dribbles inside 2 of us and slots it home. We missed way too many opportunities. Rodney Redis was unfortunate not to be able to complete it. Seba had some good looks. You got to make plays at both ends in a competition like this. And we were on the other side of it. So no excuses there, just kind of laying out the failures and how it played out. He said, we'll get back to work. Apparently no planned extended rest here, at least to start this 3-week period. He said there's plenty to work on. We'll try to find a game in there as well. There are some other teams that are knocked out. We want to get a game. That's what we'll try to focus on. So maybe they travel somewhere, kind of get their road legs under them. Maybe a team comes here. But it's certainly a closed door scrimmage with another MLS team that is already knocked out is coming in the next 2 weeks, which I think is a good idea. I think some rest, right? We're not running 2-a-days here over the next 2 weeks. This is not a when we say second training camp, not that type of a schedule, right? There's going to be some off days here for the guys, but if I can, again, sometimes I want to interject my own coaching experience. Christmas break in college basketball, man, is the fucking worst from a coach's perspective. Because when you give guys 6 days off and all they do is go eat with their families and they don't work out, and this is like, man, I was part of a team as a player. We were undefeated going into Christmas break, and we lost 8 straight coming out. Yeah,
and look,
so
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you brought that up, because while we do have a nice little extended break here, it's gonna be fast. And then we're gonna hit the ground running versus some good quality Western Conference clubs, and we got to be ready to go, man. You got to put this. It's in the past now. It's gone. It's over. It sucks. I think it sucks. Everyone think it sucks. We just got to move on to this next, to get ready for this home stretch here. This is what we have been gearing up for this whole season, though, and that is what has kept us afloat in this season that has just been an absolute roller coaster of highs and lows, victories over our most hated rivals, playing with 10 guys with injuries to these cup failures. So this is what has kept us afloat to get to this point. We're in a good position in the league. I understand the league's cup shit sucks, but we're in 5th with the chance to make some noise. Yeah. So incredibly disappointed, but gotta move on.
Yeah. And the last point there, before we move on from Josh, I thought this was interesting, something I didn't really think about last night. He said the frustrating part in the second half is that we gave the ball to the opponent way too freely. You have good control of the game, and they're not doing anything to take it from us, which I thought was a true observation after the rewatch in that context.
You see it. Yeah. Sorry.
That was a difference between the two halves for sure.
You see it even at the start of the game, right? It's in the first couple minutes where we have Stuver's in the back, and they're just like, "Come on, come on out here, we're going to try to take it from you if you're just going to give it to us." Yeah. So, man, sucks.
Well,
one thing that does not suck.
Okay, one thing that does
not suck, and it was going to be like the first thing I said, but I forgot. P. Michael Hayes.
Oh, shout out P. Mike, man. That was great.
You made my night, man. Thank you for coming up and saying hi to me. I obviously you're fans of us. I'm a fan of you, and that was really nice to dap you up there. And thanks for coming through, man, for sure.
Yeah, I second that. Great to see P. Mike Hayes there.
I saw that Vergissimo on Twitter there.
Yeah.
How you gonna spin it? Well, it's P. Michael Hayes night, Vergissimo.
Yeah.
It's all about friendship. If you get knocked out of the League's Cup.
Oh man, friendship is rare. You know what I'm saying to you?
I do.
Let's take a break here for us. Again, Austin FC 2 playing tonight, and we're headed out to, what is it? The takedown, smash down, throw down.
The Great American Bash.
Okay, Great American Bash. We're going up to the HEB Center there in Cedar Park. Happy birthday to our boy Jones. Gonna see him in about 30 minutes here. We'll go watch some wrestling. We will watch Austin FC 2 take on Galaxy 2 at 8 p.m. We'll have, we can have the screen there. Watching the game. Yeah. Technology. And so then we will come back from that. We will talk Austin FC 2. Maybe wrestling recap. Who knows? We'll see what happens. 5 seconds. 5 seconds for you all. 4 or 5 hours for us. We'll see you on the other side. Well, we'll take a Zeestradamus. We'll take a little 4-0 on a Sunday night.
Absolutely.
Not bad by the boys. And man, the wrestling was a blast. That was pretty cool to see in person. Because I'm not a wrestling fan, but I had fun there.
I had a great time. And we weren't even drinking.
Yeah.
If we were drinking, we would have had even more fun, I suppose. But it was great, man. I have never been to a live event like that. I get sucked into some matches every now and then when my roommate's watching, and I want to jump in there and just, see what's going on. But it was a great time. I had a blast. It was really fun.
Yeah. It was even more fun to see the replay of Micah's goal there in the first half. We can talk about that here in a second, but then we were able to catch pretty much the entire second half there. And that's when the party really started, it appeared, out there at the pitch. Looked like a full house again. I don't know. I couldn't really see that the right side of the stands if you're looking from the broadcast angle, but that left side looked as packed as ever. So I guess just a quick recap of it. Again, we didn't get to sit here and take notes on it or anything, so not a ton for us to go over here outside of the successes, and there were plenty for FC Toe tonight. And the first one, mentioned it. I guess getting ahead of myself here in my excitement to talk about this first goal. Starting lineup, nothing crazy in the 11. Damian in net, Pinkham, Hafferty, Sally Maz, Czech Toure on that back line. Ramirez, Burton, Steve, Louis-Jean in there, Val Noel, Cristo Vela, Sebastian Pignot. We did have some news this week. Jackson Valti, no longer a member of Austin FC 2, so he was not on the bench. He was traded to Rapids 2, the only team above us in the standings. And what I heard was Colorado actually reached out about him. And then they wanted to acquire him, which I think, he hasn't gotten a ton of playing time for us lately, but if the first play, we know they're good, right? And if they want to add him to the mix there, hopefully that means he's going there for more playing time.
It was a surprising move for sure. But then I kind of looked at it and broke it down a little bit. And it's we have a shitload of talent there in that middle field. Yeah. And that Colorado team, look, they can score a lot of goals. They have some really talented offensive players, but a guy like Grillmaster, Jackson Valti is a type of player that they don't really have on that team. Kind of a guy, who's a little grittier, plays some defense, wants to distribute the ball, gets physical. So I think it was a good move for them because, we saw in that last game we played them the type of offensive firepower they have. Now you bring a guy like that into the fold who can kind of shore up your midfield, and I think it's a good move for them. Sad to see him go. I was always a fan of him. He was a fan of us. We had a pretty decent relationship with him. So I don't know how that whole process works out. He's official, so he's just traded. No loan.
Yeah, he is there. And, I think for a guy like that, right, who was a 4-year college guy, right, captain at Pitt, a lot of success there. I think Final Four appearance in his senior year, wearing the armband there. You got to make the next move in your young professional career if, it's not working out to your liking. And it seems like from the outside looking in that was kind of a, amicable move between both clubs and the player. So we'll see him at the pitch in September there. I think the second to last game of the season, Rapids 2 coming south. So good luck to Jackson up there, except in that match you guys come down here. We won't boo you too loudly when you come back, buddy. So good luck up there. What's that? Oh yeah, we will. And speaking of that, man, because Austin, we're not breaking any news here. 4-0 win for FC Toe tonight. Yeah. Colorado loses 4-0 at Sporting KC2. So, again, still some work to be done. 5 points down. Colorado has a game in hand on us. But making up 8 goals in the goal differential battle tonight, that closes the gap to just 2, where it was 10 coming into the night. So it was about as good of a night, I think, standings-wise, for FC2 that we could really dream of, making up 8 goals in a night.
Yeah, and we knew this Galaxy team coming in was in trouble.
Yeah. We said it. I mean, we make some ridiculous score predictions from time to time, but 3-0, 4-0, both were in play down at the end. Zestradamus comes out on top. Feels good. On the bench, Leo Torres, AOC, John Santillan, EJ, Bobo, Brian Ariano, Irvin Torres, Anthony De Anda, and Eric Lopez backing up Damian Loss. So 1-0 going into the half after Micah in the 12th minute. He actually tried to play Cristo Vela in on the left side, which was a dangerous run, but that gets deflected out, kind of cleared away, but Austin stays in possession. Czech kind of jumps on it after it bounces, heads it back to Captain Joe, and he heads it along to Alonso Ramirez, who kind of forwards it along back to Micah. And Micah just pulls up from deep, man, 7 yards outside the box, has a go, and rips it into the back of the net. And that is the reason why he's, kind of the crown jewel of the academy coming into this year. So it's exciting to see him have more success at the next pro level.
That was an incredible shot. And I mean, look how far he's come from the first time we saw him.
Right. Yeah.
And just his confidence levels and like he knows he belongs. It's great to see. And I mean, one of the best goals of the season. If you haven't had a chance to see it, I would recommend checking it out because it's a hell of a strike.
Yeah. So then into the second half here, and I guess typically we talk about all the discipline. There was a lot of that in the first half. 5 yellow cards in total. Steve picked one up. Cristo picked one up. Just 3 in the first half. But then 2 in quick succession for Galaxy, 2 after the half. And then I think the third one was right after Austin was granted a penalty in the 61st minute because Steve looks at his buddy Mike and says, "Hey, I'm going to try that too." And he rips one from about the same spot. And the keeper gets his hands to this one, but kind of spills it.
Yep.
And Sebastian Pinot is crashing the box, trying to poke that offensive rebound home, kind of converges with the defender. And I think what you said when we were watching in the car is like, they're showing the replays. It's like, yeah, that looks like a foul. Again, broadcast angle, you've only got the one at this level. But it was given, and we will take it. I think you kind of commented that it didn't look like any of our guys thought we were going to get that call.
No, and I think it's because a sort of shot attempt gets let go there. All the Galaxy guys are arguing that the ball went over the net and he got a shot off, but the guy's fucking late. He's late.
Went through
him. Beats him to the spot, and he goes right through him, and he slides. So it's it's a foul.
Yeah. So 2-0 there after Alonso Ramirez buries the penalty. Then you get a double switch for Galaxy 2. And then 3 minutes later, a double switch for Austin. You get Bobo coming in for Steve. And then Leo Torres in for Cristo Vela. And if I'm not mistaken, this is only Leo's second appearance, I think. I may be mistaken there, second or third. Leo hasn't played a ton, right?
Correct.
But it doesn't take him long to make get in the book here in a good way. 2 minutes later, 68th minute. I think it was Czech is chasing a ball down on the end line. He turns it back for Val Noel, who had repositioned himself there, kind of the left edge of the box. And he whips a cross in, and it goes over, I think, Pinot's head. And then on the back post, Leo Torres crashing that cross and heads it home. And, man, I saw, when we were watching, I thought it was Ramirez who had flown in there and headed it in.
Yeah.
And then because I saw the 3 on his shorts when they started to celebrate, but then I saw 1-3. Oh man, it's Leo Torres. And so congrats, Leo, man. That was a great finish.
I did not see this one.
Okay.
I think we were in the line for the bathroom.
For the bathroom, yeah. I was we were standing behind some guys who were also watching the game.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, it's 2-0," and you're like, "Nope, it's 3." And so I don't think I did not see that one. But just congrats to Leo, man. That's awesome. Bank account is open.
Yeah, and then shortly after that restart, you get the second yellow card to, I think his name was Nick Shaletto. Pinot had gotten out on the break, and to be honest, he did not have an advantageous situation. I thought the Shaletto kid, this was an unnecessary foul, a frustration foul, just runs through his back. And rightful caution there, and it's your second, buddy, so he's out of here. Yeah, we got 20 minutes of playing a man up. And I think the guys, we did get more subs here. Anthony De Anda debut. Congrats to him. Yep. I know that's been a long time coming. He's been working his butt off. Irvin Torres gets in there. So Pinkham, Alonso Ramirez out there in the 74th. Then 85th, you get Brian Ariano in there in place of Val Noel, which means Austin FC 2 has 4 academy players on the pitch at once. So it's a different look from what we opened the year as, but found a lot of success with it tonight. And, it's kind of might be cliche, but they call it the pathway, right, to the first team from the academy. And it's awesome to see those guys out there. And, a lot of teams are going to look good when you're up a man, but everybody out there wearing Verde and Black had a lot of confidence here in the second half. And obviously that just builds the more goals they pile up.
Yeah. I mean, look, this team is good. It's deep. We have a good academy. It's great to see these guys getting moved up. What a response by the club here to come back from a tough PK loss to a very good Rapids team that we had on the ropes. But they responded and they took care of business against a team that we're just much better than. Yeah. Right now, the only things, surrounding this team for me are what's up with AOC. What is going on there? We haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Obviously, as well as the David injury status there. And
Charlie.
Other than that, at Charlie as well. Other than that, this team is gearing up to be very, very dangerous come playoff time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been next man up all season. I mean, Kip Keller is gone. I don't think CJ is coming back to this team. Maybe a game or two since we have this 3-week break, but I feel like that transition is coming, right? But all the way back to the first team, similar to Kip. I don't want to gloss over 93rd minute here. Brian Ariano just destroys this defender, gets around him into the box, into a dangerous area, gets dragged down by the same defender. Penalty earned, and he gets to step up and take it. So 4th goal on the night, his first professional goal, if I'm not mistaken. So congrats to Brian. It was a night of firsts for the young boys, and doing what they do best in avenging us on a Sunday evening. So 4-0. Congrats to those guys, and we will preview. We got the LAFC double here going out to LA next Sunday to take on LAFC 2. We'll preview that Wednesday, but LAFC 2 sharing the bottom of the Western Conference standings with their crosstown rivals there in Galaxy. So another good matchup coming up here on the schedule. Anything else for you on last business day here?
Nope. Congrats to the dudes who opened up the accounts. That's awesome. Keep going. Keep grinding. Pathway is there.
Absolutely. Let's get to let's close it out here with the betting picks in match day 3. We did finally I tallied up what we had done through match day 1 and match day 2. Match day 1 lost Austin, Cincy, Orlando, won the Columbus and over 1.5 at even odds. Match day 2, we went we kind of sprayed and prayed for, if you want to call it that. We hit on Tigres plus 145, Leon plus 200, Cincy and over 1.5. That was at plus 150. Missed on Chicho to score. RSL did not score. We had them as well. Montreal could not get past the Runes. Austin, of course, taking the L. They were at minus 110. And then the off-the-cuff hammer does not come through. Loons crashing and burning in that game. Minnesota.
Did you see that?
What's that?
Did you see that game?
No, I did not. Tough?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Minnesota goes up 2-1.
Yeah.
And
I saw the end of that. Yep.
Dane St. Clair just loses his mind.
Yeah. He's him and Shaqiri, John on that penalty.
Shaqiri gave him the business on that PK too, yeah. It was a bummer because I was like, it was just it's about to hit the hammer. But yeah, no, failed.
All right, so here, match day 3, right? Obviously, some of the games played last night, but what we did today was just kind of bow down to Liga MX here. We ended up, this is just how it ended up. We're picking all Mexican sides here to finish up match day 3. I'm going to start it off. Taking Tijuana against Querétaro, right? You got this is that group with Philly, right? The other group that has the 2 Mexican sides in it. So I'm going to go with Tijuana here. They are slight favorites, but you're getting them at plus money, plus 125. So that's how I'm going to start it off. Lock in Tijuana, and I'll toss it to you.
All right. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and take Toluca plus 155 versus lowly Colorado. Locking it.
Yeah, in the elevation there, but come on. It's Colorado Rapids.
They'd have to be playing on a volcano.
Well, I'm gonna go with a little bit of a more well-known team here, at least to me, coming into this tournament. Monterrey, right? Taking on Seattle. This should be a good game. But getting Monterrey, I know it's a tough place to play there, up in the Pacific Northwest, but plus 145 for Monterrey. I cannot pass that up, so I'm going to lock that in. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing RSL versus Seattle and then seeing RSL versus Montreal, I was like, okay, yeah, there's levels here, as Jay-Z would say. I'm going to go ahead and take Chivas plus 175 versus SKC, and I feel good about it. Again, it feels good taking these Mexican clubs.
I know. Well, and Chivas up against it after losing at FC Cincinnati, so a must win for them here. I'm going to go to another well-known. I'm going to close it out with two well-known teams here. First one, Tigres plus 140 against San Jose. Feel pretty good about that one, and then I'll just double it up here. Give me Club America plus 175 against Columbus. Look, all the respect to Columbus, obviously,
Facts.
right? We're fans of that team, what they can do, Zella Rayon, Cucho, and the like. But America plus 175 here, I'll lock that in as well. So I'll let you close it out with the last one. 7 straight Mexican picks here.
Yeah, man. God, watching that America team versus St. Louis, that was something to see. All right, Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas.
One of those.
They know what I mean. Atlas plus 125 versus bad Toronto. Everybody wants out of Toronto. I don't even know who's on their team at this point.
Hey, Atlas probably wants out of Toronto too. Too long there. Too long. So hopefully coming out with a win for the bets. So E's got Toluca, Chivas, Atlas. I've got Tijuana, Monterrey, Tigres, Club America. Those are the Matchday 3 betting picks from the group stage. Now on the season, after Matchday 1 and 2, here, Ian, we are down 3.05 units across those two rounds of bets. So down to negative 32.09 units. We got to get back up. We got to get below that 30 mark. That's the baseline.
We just got to hit one of these lotto tickets for Leagues Cup winner.
Oh, still have all those.
All can be erased.
All right, everybody. If you're still with us through all of the nonsense here at the end of the pod, we greatly appreciate it. And if you've got 5 extra seconds to rate, review, and subscribe to the pod, wherever you get your podcast, we would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button to help us grow the pod, and you can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit that thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. We will be back on Wednesday previewing Austin FC2's matchup against LAFC2 and, talking some other Austin FC nonsense. Probably talk a good bit about the Leagues Cup. We'll be into the knockout stage. So, we've got the second chance bracket competition. Maybe do something for that. We'll have fun. The pod is not stopping, even though Austin FC, the first team, is getting a little bit of a breather here. Appreciate all of you being with us. Enjoy the beginning of your week, and we're all looking forward to August 20th, getting our revenge on St. Louis City. So we'll check in with you all in the midweek. Until then, he's E. I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.